Alright guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I am doing a get ready with me using some new to me luxury makeup as well as some current favorites. So don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And let's just get straight into the video. So for the eyes, I will be using the Roen. This is the Gold Dust palette. And I was really intrigued by this because this is a completely different formula than the other eyeshadow quads. I do have another one that I will be comparing at the end. This is the 75 degrees. But these are actually cream eyeshadows, these three right here. And then this is almost an eyeshadow topper, but these creams, they're very, very lovely. They don't have any of those shimmer particles or that chunky glitter or anything like that her usual eyeshadows do. They are quite textured and very, like when you feel them, they are that chunky glitter. So these are not any of that. They just give you a beautiful sheen. They're basically a cream eyeshadow. They feel very emollient. And then this one is an eyeshadow topper, but again, it's different from her other formula because this gives more of that sophisticated eyeshadow topper. It does still have sporadic shimmer particles throughout it, but it's not as chunky as the previous version. So to start out, I'm going to take this second shade here, which is kind of just like a bronze shade, and I'm going to take that on a Wayne Goss 18 brush because this is a nice dense brush and it is great for picking up cream products. This isn't like a cream to powder like the Tom Ford or anything like that. This is a straight up more emollient. So I'm just applying this to the outside corner of the eye. So I'm just placing that color there. And then with any excess product that I have, I'm going to be a little more careful because again, with creams, you can't blend as freely as you would with a powder. I'm going to work that into the crease. And I'm not going to bring it all the way in. I'm going to take it about, I don't know, 3/4 of the way across. But it's really pretty. Again, it gives a really pretty sheen and really easy to apply, pretty easy to blend as well. I'm not having any trouble with this. I'm definitely glad that it's not as shimmery as her other eyeshadows. I think for this look, I am just going to work with the same brush throughout the whole look. So I'm just going to take that brush on a paper towel and I'm just going to wipe off that excess product. And then I'm going to use this brush as a flat shader. And I'm going to apply this first shade in here, which is like a beautiful kind of neutral champagne gold shade. And I'm going to take that color on the side of its brush because I'm going to, again, use this more like a flat shader. I'm just going to apply this all over the lid. This might work really well with fingertips as well. So I'm getting nice pigmentation. It's not overwhelming or anything. Again, the texture of this is not too thick of a cream eyeshadow that it's hard to blend. It's actually fairly easy to blend. And again, just going all over the eye. That's really pretty. It's a beautiful sheen. Again, there are no intense glitter chunks or any shimmer particles or anything like that. It's very continuous in its sheen. It gives you that glossy eye effect, and it's really, really beautiful. I'm impressed with these so far, and I like that it's not too pigmented, so it's easy to work with for anyone. Now, I'm not sure how this will hold up throughout the day, if it's going to be really long wearing or if it's going to kind of settle into creases or anything, so I will definitely update you on that as well. Now the shade that I put in the outer corner did get covered up a little bit, so I'm just going to dip back into that second shade and just re-intensify on the outside corner, just kind of going back and forth. And then again, I'm going to wipe off the excess product on the brush, and then I'm going to take this, it's almost like a copper shade. It has a little more warmth to it than the other shades do, and I'm just grabbing that on the tip of the brush. I'm going to make sure the excess product is off of that, and I'm going to just warm up the crease. So I'm just going kind of lightly above the crease and just going around the edges there to add a bit of warmth to this look. But I'm being super light-handed with my touch because I just want this to be very subtle effect. I think that looks really nice so far. Again, super easy to blend, blends like a dream. I think this look is super easy to put together. The colors have enough of a difference that they don't muddy up altogether, especially because they are creams. And then for a final step, I'm going to take that eyeshadow topper here. And for this step, I am going to use my fingers. So you get a nice amount of color payoff just using your fingertips. And again, while I can feel a little bit like this is a drier eyeshadow in comparison, obviously, to the creams, it doesn't have too many glitter flecks or anything like that. It's a very elegant, sophisticated sheen. It's actually really pretty. It's not as chunky as I thought it would be, so really nice. So I'm just using this with my fingertips and just pressing it onto the eyelid. Nice. That definitely amps up the look. This makes it way more like nighttime appropriate. So I can see that sporadic shimmer in this shade, but again, it's not anything chunky. It's not too over the top or anything like that. And then for a final step, I'm just going to take that brush that I used and just go over the edges in case there's any harsh lines or anything. And for the lower lash line, I am just going to go into this kind of bronzy shade that I used in the crease. And I'm going to apply that on the lower lash line. So just going from the outside corner and then connecting to that outer corner and then bringing it inwards. Mascara is on, and I just went in with my Dior Maximizer 3D Lash Primer and then went in on top with the Kjaer Weis I'm Possible Mascara. This is just the best mascara combination, so I'm obviously still loving that. And for concealer, I want to try a little bit of a combination. So I'm going to start with the Sisley. This is the eye concealer with botanical extract, so it comes in this little squeezy tube. And actually, the applicator is nice. I don't love the applicator method for applying concealer, but it is nice because this is kind of cooling on the under eyes and it feels nice. That's kind of what I like about it, is that it just feels really nice and cooling. So I just apply under the eyes here. And I'm not going to apply concealer to the outer corner right now, but I am just going to blend that in with my sponge. And this is just a really great concealer. It has a nice fuller coverage. It's not completely like super full coverage where it looks makeup-y or heavy. Like I said, this does a really great job of looking, even though it has a higher coverage, it still retains a really natural looking coverage under the eyes. It never looks cakey under there or anything. And I really love this concealer as well because I don't have to set it down with powder. It just wears impeccably throughout the day. I don't need to touch up or anything. So it just remains really consistent on the under eyes, which is really important in a concealer for me. I want to go ahead and add a little bit of brightness under the eye as well. So I'm going to take the Cle De Peau. This is the Radiant Corrector for under eyes, and this is in the shade Almond. So I'm just going to take a bit of that and apply it right underneath this area just to add that brightening effect there. I like to keep concealer away like from right against my lower lash line because that is where you have the most like creases and fine lines and stuff. And if you put too much concealer there, then it will really enhance all the fine lines under there. It'll really accentuate that. That's what I meant. And it's not the best look. And then I'm going to use this brightening pen to clean up that outer corner. If you want a really flawless under eye, I would recommend that combination because my under eyes look phenomenal if I do say so myself. It looks really good. Doesn't look heavy at all. It's sitting very beautifully. That Cle De Peau just adds a really nice brightening effect, but again, it's not overwhelming. It's not adding too much coverage to that concealer. And the Sisley, it just has a little bit of a peachy undertone to it because it is more of a corrector and concealer in one. So this just adds that beautiful brightness back to my under eyes and makes me look alive and awake. Foundation, I'm going to take the Cle De Peau Beauté. This is the Radiant Fluid Foundation Naturel. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm like 3/4 of the way done with this bottle. So this is one of my all-time favorite foundations. It is so, so beautiful. So you do need to shake it well before use. And then this foundation, you only really require one pump. You get a decent sized pump in there, and that will kind of cover the full face. You want a really nice medium coverage. It's never too makeup-y. It doesn't give you too much coverage where it's overwhelming and it just covers up everything on your face. But it does give me enough that it gets rid of any pigmentation or anything. And it's just the most beautiful finish. It's really skin-like, and it just has, I know it's called the Radiant Fluid Foundation, but I don't think it has that much radiance to it. Like, it never looks dewy or too glowy or anything. It just has this beautiful effect on the skin where it really softens the appearance of your skin, adds this beautiful blurred effect, which is something that I love. So with this type of foundation, I don't even require to go in with like a pore smoothing primer because of just how smooth it is on the skin. This is just one of my favorite foundations of all time. This foundation is quite long wearing as well. It wears on me all day long. This is a foundation I like to reach for if I am going out for dinner or if I want my skin to be a little more perfected. So that is the foundation on, and I just love the smoothing effect that this foundation gives. I'm just so happy with this foundation every time that I wear it. This is the Hourglass Cream Blush. This is the Vanish Cream Blush. They were released, I don't know, probably like a year ago or something. And I picked one up because, if you know, the Cle De Peau Cream Blush is my absolute favorite cream blush formula of all time. There is a little swatch of it there. And then I tried the Victoria Beckham, but I had an allergic reaction to it. So I am just trying to find a really good cream blush that I can recommend that's just not the Cle De Peau. Like, I like to have, you know, a few blushes I can recommend. So I'm just going to take this on a Wayne Goss 13 brush. I don't like to dab it straight on, like the product straight onto my cheeks. I just find that doesn't give the best finish. It's almost a little harder to blend out because this is a cream to powder formula. So with this, I like to take a more kind of like dense brush and then just pat that color onto the cheeks. Now this is, again, one of the only cream blushes that works well over top of powder. And the only other cream blush that I think does that is the Cle De Peau cream blush. So I like that I have another option. It's really beautiful. It blends really nice as well. And it looks really seamless on the cheeks. And I really like that it dries down to that powder finish, because if you're just, like, I like to layer cream blushes, so I will apply a powder blush over top, just so I get that really refined look at the front of my cheeks. I don't like anything to look dewy or anything there. But because this does dry down to a more powder finish, you don't actually have to go over top with a powder blush. I just like that because it really locks in my products and I just get the most longevity that way. But this is a really great option. I've been really happy with this cream blush. I find the longevity is really decent as well. And can't remember if I said, but the shade I got is Wonder, which is just like a really nice light peachy shade. I feel like I'm going to use this cream blush, and I have the tendency to use cream blushes the most, either when I'm going out for a special occasion when I really want my makeup like kind of locked in and so it's not going to fade away, or when I'm going for that more no makeup look. I think this would be a really pretty option as well. Bronzer, I'm going to take the Guerlain Terracotta. This is the shade 03 Medium Warm. Now I know this might not be an exciting bronzer, but I have just been loving this bronzer so much. It is just, I don't know, it's wonderful. And again, it's been released for so long, but I just didn't have this one in my collection. And the formula of this is just really lovely for a powder bronzer. It's really seamless on the skin. It gives the perfect amount of warmth to my skin. It blends like a dream. The formula is just really nice on this. And it has a really pretty skin-like glow to it. So it's not a flat matte bronzer. It gives you, like, again, your skin has a bit of glow to it. So it gives you that skin-like glow. And it just really adds a beautiful, nice enhanced. It adds a really lovely sun-kissed glow, but it's not too warm. It's not orangey or anything like that. And I just think it flatters my skin tone a lot. It's just a really great formula. So I'm happy that I picked this one up because I just feel like everyone needs a Guerlain bronzer in their collection, especially if you love luxury beauty. It's just a classic, and it's a classic for a reason. And it is a standout bronzer because it's just beautiful all around. I'm also going to take a bit of that bronzer and I'm just going to blend it across the lower lash line. So I'm just going to blend that from outer corner inwards. Again, I like to add a little bit of bronzer to the eye look so that it all connects at the end. Using the Hermes Year 1 Permabrass highlighter. Now I know I have used this a lot lately, but I want to use it while I can because this is a limited edition highlighter. So if you haven't yet checked it out, I would highly recommend it. It is just one of my top favorite highlighters of all time. It is a Beige and just gives you the most beautiful glow to your skin. It has intensity, but it's not too much that it looks overwhelming. And it's that beautiful formula that just melts right into the skin, so you can't detect that distinguished look of highlighter on your skin because, again, it just really does this beautiful job of melting right into the skin. You don't even need to buff it into the skin afterwards. It's really nice for that beautiful creamy glow highlight. It's lovely. Onto the cheeks, I am using a new blush. This is the Chantecaille cheek shade in the shade Grace Turtle. So I really wanted to pick this up because it seems like the most neutral of the bunch. It's a really pretty kind of apricot color. And as you can see, there is a little turtle imprinted on this blush. It has an overspray of a sheen, but once you dip your brush into it, it gets rid of that sheen and you won't detect that sheen anymore on your skin or anything. So I actually like to kind of wipe it off just because I don't like any excess shimmer on my cheeks. But I love this formula of blush. It's a really silky formula. So again, I don't recommend that you travel with these blushes. So there's a swatch of it there. A beautiful, it's almost like a terracotta shade. It has some brown tones and it's a very pretty nude shade. So I think that's perfect for the fall and winter time as well. And again, I really enjoy this formula because it's such a finely milled formula. It's very creamy. I don't recommend traveling with them because they are very easily breakable because of how finely milled and just delicate they are. But the beautiful thing is they have that property that, again, just really melts into the skin and it retains a really beautiful skin-like finish, even though it is a powder product. and it just gives such a pretty glow to the skin. I think that worked really well with that Hourglass blush underneath as a base. It just kind of refines the look even more and just adds a nice healthy glow to the skin. It's a really nice shade, actually. I think it gives me a nice amount of a punch of color, but it's not too much or anything. And to refine the look of my skin even more and add that really perfecting filtered effect over top, I'm going in with the Cle De Peau Refining Pressed Powder. Now, the Cle De Peau foundation that I used as my foundation, it has a really beautiful, like I said, smoothing effect and blurring effect. So, and it also has a really nice natural skin-like finish. I don't find it too glowy. So for that reason, I'm going to go in with a smaller brush because I don't find I need as much powdering. And I'm just going to dip into that powder with this brush. And I'm only going to apply it right to my areas where my pores are a little larger. So just in the front of my face there. And then I'm going to bring that excess onto the nose and then just in the center of my forehead. And just right, like I don't like to look shiny right on my chin here. So I'm just going to apply that powder right there. And then I'm going to leave everywhere else free of powder. I also forgot to mention that I went in and tightlined with the Sisley. This is the Phyto-Khol Star Waterproof Pencil in the shade Matte Onyx No. 1. It's just a black eyeliner, and I love this for tightlining. It does not smudge throughout the day. It doesn't irritate my eyes. This is the best tightlining eyeliner that I have ever come across. And for my lips, I'm going to switch it up because I've been using the Charlotte Tilbury so often. This is the Sisley lip liner in the shade Beige Naturel. This is one of my, again, top 5 or top 3 even favorite lip liners. It's a really great long-wearing formula, but it never feels drying on the lips at all. So really nice if you want something long-wearing. So I'm just going to line my lips with this. This is a little deeper than I normally go for, so for that reason, I usually find that I have to pair the Sisley lip liner, especially that shade, with a lipstick, but that's fine because I have a new lipstick. This is the Chantecaille Lip Chic in the shade Patience. This one is so hard to get your hands on. It sells out super quickly, so it's just this perfect nude shade. Has the perfect amount of pink. It's not too pink though, and it has a little bit of brown tones and peach. It's that absolutely perfect combination, and it's such a lovely formula, so I'm just going to apply that to the lips. So this will nude up that lip liner really nicely as well to give me like a perfect nude shade. And then of course I like to blend that all in so it looks a little more lived in. This Lip Chic formula actually really reminds me of the Victoria Beckham Posh lipsticks. It's just a really nice formula. It glides on. It gives you a decent amount of pigment, but it's not too much. Obviously, because this does have more of that glossy finish, it's not going to last like a super long time. It is not a long-wearing lipstick. But again, I don't mind that because I don't mind if I have to touch up my lipsticks or my lip color, as long as they remain really comfortable on the lips, and this does exactly that. It's just a really beautiful formula. So that is it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I quickly want to go over my thoughts on the Roen palette. Again, you heard me talk about this lipstick, how I love it, and this blush as well. I think this is a really beautiful formula. I really want to collect all the shades. It brings enough color to my face. It never has too much pigment where you look like you have clown cheeks. Very blendable, very buildable, just such a great powder blush, one of my favorites. And then I really enjoyed this cream blush as well, surprisingly, because I'm very, very picky with cream blushes. I actually think the formula of this is really beautiful. It's a cream blush, of course, but it's not too creamy. It's not going to remain emollient on the skin. It does set down to a more powder finish, and I think it layers really nicely underneath a powder blush as well. But you could also just wear it on its own as well, and it's a really nice formula. And if you do have sensitive skin, I do think this would work for it because this hasn't caused me any irritation. So going back to the Roen palettes, I actually do have a Roen palette, but I literally never use it because, again, I don't really like that chunky glitter formula. This palette is a 75 degrees and it has that chunky glitter formula. Like when you feel it, it feels flaky, it feels dry, it feels textured, and the color payoff you get is nothing too crazy. It doesn't have a ton of opacity, but you do get a lot of that glitter flecked in there. The formula of these shades, even this eyeshadow topper down here, is much, much different. These are all, like I said, cream eyeshadows. They have a really nice emollient feel to them, but they're not too emollient where they're going to just glide everywhere, and it adds such a beautiful sheen. I can't even detect any glitter particles in this. Yes, like I said, there is a sheen, but it's a very beautiful kind of understated sheen that is perfect for every day. Now, when you add this on top, it's not really an everyday look anymore. This is more like an eyeshadow topper, so I would reserve this shade for more special occasions. And I think it pairs really well with these more cream eyeshadows that are more emollient because this topper just sticks right to it, so you're not going to get that fallout. I don't actually have any fallout, which is surprising for an eyeshadow topper. But this one definitely has quite a bit of shimmer to it. It's not as chunky and not as metallic as the shades that are in this 75 degrees. These I just don't really like. They're quite flaky, they're dry, very glittery in a way that it's just not my favorite. But this, on the other hand, this is much more, I'm not going to say like much more subtle, but you get a nice opacity to it, and you do get that sporadic shimmer throughout it. But again, it's more of that elegant shimmer. It reminds me a lot of the Chantecaille luminescent eye shades, that kind of sheen that you get. I would say the Roen still has a bit more of that sporadic shimmer than the Chantecaille does. So it's a little bit more shimmery. It's definitely a bit more shimmery, but again, it's nothing too crazy, but it is enough that I would not wear this eyeshadow topper in the daytime just because it's a little too much. But I think it's pretty if you did just reserve this for more special occasions. And without this shade right here, I would use all three of these in the daytime. I think that look that I had before I added the topper was absolutely beautiful. A perfect everyday kind of glow where it gives you that beautiful subtle sheen. It's not metallic in any way. It's just a really pretty kind of effortless look that would be great. Again, I think in the summertime, just using a totally cream base. So if you just kept your skin looking really natural, you use like the Chanel Water Fresh tint, used a cream blush and bronzer, and then use these cream shades on the eyes. I think that would be such a stunning natural glam look because it's just like you but enhanced. And then this just adds a little more jazz, a little more pizzazz to your look. But I do think this formula is a vast improvement over these shades here. They're just not my favorite because I never ever reach for this. I can't even remember. I think I used it once and then just didn't really like how it looked. That is it for today's video. I really hope you guys enjoyed this. Let me know if you have any questions down below. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in my next video.